Okay, the other segment of the money market or important segment of the money market is the treasury bills market. So treasury bill is a kind of instrument which is generally issued by the Reserve Bank of India on behalf of the government. It is a kind of short-term securities because the maximum term to maturity of the treasury bill is 364 days. So maximum up to 1 year, what exactly we can say. So here, if you see the treasury bills, mostly it does not have any coupon. Generally, whenever you talk about a bond, the bond generally provides some periodic cash flow to the investors. If you are investing in a bond, then every periodical basis you get certain amount of cash flow depending upon the interest rate which was fixed. But coupon are basically not associated with the treasury bills. It is issued at a discount and redeemed at par. What does it mean? That means there is a value which will be fixed from the beginning. Let the par value is 100 rupees and it will be issued at a price of 95 rupees or 97 rupees. So you will buy this particular bond at a price of 97 and once the maturity period will be over, you will get 100 rupees from that particular investment. So that's why treasury bills are basically issued at a discount and redeemed at par. There is no interim periodic cash flow which is involved with respect to this treasury bills. So treasury bills are quite popular as a short-term instrument or a short-term money market instrument, what we can say. There are many reasons for that. There are varieties of reasons which are basically responsible to say that the treasury bills market is quite popular in terms of the money market in India. Not only India, across the globe, this market has a lot of importance, a lot of significance. The major reason or major characteristics of this particular market is why basically this market is popular. Because this is highly liquid. This is a highly liquid. Liquid in the sense that it is very easily or very fast, this particular instrument can be converted into cash. The liquidity of this particular instrument is quite high in comparison to the other short-term securities which are traded in this particular segment. Again, if you ask that why basically we say that it is highly liquid or there is no such kind of difficulty in terms of trading in that particular security, because there is a no risk of default, because it is backed by the government. On behalf of the government, RBI basically issues this particular security or the central bank issues this security. So there is no risk of default. There is no probability that the lender who was basically or the issuer who was basically issued this particular kind of security, then he or that organization is not able to pay the promised money whatever they have mentioned while issuing that particular security. So there is no such risk of default involved in that particular kind of instrument. Availability is there. There is a ready availability of that particular security. So because it is issued at discount and redeemed at par, so there is a assured yield. So definitely there is a positive yield what you are going to get from that particular type of investment or particular kind of security. Investing in that security is relatively incurs less transaction cost. That is another kind of motivating factor what we can say. Because of this importance or the relevance or the we can say that popularity of this particular market is quite large. And the major advantage is basically this instrument has the eligibility for the inclusion in SLR. All of you know what is SLR? What is SLR? We have already discussed.
The amount of liquid funds that a bank need to have with itself.
Is it SLR? I think we have discussed this one, Ravi.
I mean, bank is supposed to have assets which are which can be converted into liquid easily.
liquid
They
easily.
need, yeah,
So there should
they
be
need to have
some,
those assets.
yeah, banks should invest certain kind of assets which can be easily converted into cash, right? So mostly
Yes.
those assets are basically the government securities mostly. And treasury bill is a short-term instrument which is issued by the government. Generally, RBI issues this, but on behalf of the government. So that's why treasury bills basically is a part of the eligible instrument which can be invested as a SLR instrument. So that's why that is another advantage of the investment in the treasury bills by the commercial banks and the other financial institutions. And obviously the depreciation of this particular asset is very much negligible because there is no such kind of uncertainty or the default involved in that particular type of instrument. If any organization or any kind of banks basically invest in that particular security, then the capital appreciation is depreciation is negligible. These are the different characteristics you can keep in the mind with respect to the treasury bills which are available in the market. Then there are different types of treasury bills, and mostly the treasury
Excuse me,
bills.
sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, can we take the rate of treasury bills as the risk-free rate then?
Yes, treasury bill rates can be considered as a risk-free rate.
Okay.
So there are different types of treasury bills, and all those types of treasury bills are basically characterized on the basis of their term to maturity. So RBI in general issues 4 types of treasury bills. But broadly, the popular treasury bills are 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days treasury bills, because these are the marketable securities. These securities are marketable in the sense the commercial banks and other financial institutions can issue that, can invest in that particular security, and that security is again can be marketable by these organizations. But there is another type of security which is 14 days intermediate treasury bills. And the basic objective of these 14 days treasury bills is to basically the finance these state governments. If there is any shortfall in the daily minimum cash balances of the state governments, so then the 14 days treasury bills can be sold to fulfill that particular gap. So that's why the objective of the 14-day treasury bills is not the investment in that regard. So mostly this, if you talk about the investment point of view, then mostly this 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days treasury bills are generally investable in the market, or those treasury bills are basically marketable instruments. So if you talk about this, then who can invest? Because RBI basically issues these treasury bills. And who are those participants who can invest in the treasury bills? Obviously, banks. Then you have certain primary dealers who are eligible to invest in the treasury bills. State governments, they can always invest in the treasury bills. Provident funds, other financial institutions, insurance companies, non-banking financial companies, FIIs, foreign institutional investors. So they are all NRIs. So these are all those participants who are there who can invest in this particular treasury bills. And treasury bills are available for a minimum amount of 25,000 rupees, 25,000, or the multiple of the 25,000. And generally, the treasury bills are sold through a auction process. Whenever RBI issues the treasury bills, the price and yield of that particular treasury bill is decided through a auction process. Through the auction process, the yield or the price of that particular treasury bill is determined, and accordingly, this particular instrument is issued to different organizations on the basis of their demand. So these are the basically the investors. So I will just show you the recent data with respect to the treasury bills ownership. If you look at the treasury bills of ownership pattern of the treasury bills, what RBI data basically says, who are the major investors? If you look at the banks, primary dealers, state governments, and others. Others means in the sense we have included all those other participants like insurance companies, non-banking financial companies, FIIs, and all those other market participants. So we are basically adding it up at others. So if you look at that, if you see that 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days treasury bills data, if you see, so these are basically the 2020-21 data. If you see that this is the status of as on this particular date, what is the status of that particular treasury bills, and who are those major investors who are investing in this particular market. So in 2021 also, on a particular day, this particular data is available. So you can also have a look on this. But now, if you look at that in terms of the 14 days intermediate treasury bills, you see I said that it is mostly issued to the state governments, and to some extent it is also issued to some foreign banks. So that's why this percentage is this amount is negligible. Mostly these 14 days intermediate treasury bills are issued to the state governments only to basically finance that particular deficit on the daily transactions, whatever they are making, daily cash balances, whatever they should make with RBI. So that's why the 14 days intermediate treasury bills, the major investor are in the state governments. But these treasury bills are basically which are marketable treasury bills. So these are basically invested and also market as a marketable instrument by the different stakeholders, including banks, primary dealers, state governments, and the other kind of entities. So these figures are all in terms of the crore. So then we are talking. Yes.
I mean, throughout the year, is it only during that period that these treasury bills are issued? I mean, during that June to July period, is it like that, or
There is a date. There is a date. RBI basically there is a calendar. There is a calendar. RBI basically goes for an auction on that particular date. Then accordingly, that's why it is written in this way. Are you getting my point? You see
yes,
that
sir.
these are all
Yes.
weekly. July 2, July 9, July 16, July
Yes.
23rd, July 30, 7 days gap. Have you seen?
Yes, sir.
So these are basically the weekly basis. There is an auction which held with respect to this type of treasury bills, and accordingly there is a bidding process which goes on, and the particular bills or treasury bills are issued to those kind of entities. Okay, I'll explain you that what exactly happens in this case. So already I said that or we discussed that the treasury bills are basically sold through auction process. So whenever we talk about the auction process, it is basically a process which invites the bids, and the objective is to arrive a particular price at which the particular security will be issued. So there are two types of auction process generally happens in terms of the yield and as well as the price. Somewhere the yield has to be reported. The yield-based auction is generally conducted when a new government security is issued. So investors generally bid in yield terms up to 2 decimal points. For example, 7.49%, 8.21%, etc. Then once this Reserve Bank of India gets this particular kind of bids from the different investors, they arrange it in an ascending order, and the cutoff yield is arrived at the yield corresponding to the notified amount of the auction. So the cutoff yield is taken as a kind of interest rate for that particular security. So the successful bidders are those who have bid at or below the cutoff yield, and bids which are higher than the cutoff yield are rejected, because this interest rate this Reserve Bank of India has to pay to this particular investors. So that's why this yield-based auction will be basically arranged in the ascending order, and wherever this amount is exhausted, so there itself the cutoff field is decided. Then accordingly, what they will do, they basically will go for a kind of issuance of that particular security to the successful bidders. But if particular security is again reissued, then the price-based auction is conducted. So there, instead of going for a bidding in terms of the interest rate or the yield, the particular bids are basically done on the basis of the price. So the bidders basically quote in terms of price for 100 of the face value. So they can bid at a price of 99, they can bid a price of 100, 101, whatever. They can always go for the different prices. And the bids are basically, if it is a price-based auction, then the bids will be arranged in the descending order. And the successful bidders are those who have bid at or above this cutoff price. Because the price actually this investor has to pay to get that particular security. So the bids which are below the cutoff price are rejected. Have you got this point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Abhidev? Ravi? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are
Yes,
audible.
yes, sir.
Okay. So does this PPT is visible to you? No,
Yes, sir. It is.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir,
Visible.
it's visible.
it is visible.
Yes, sir.
So then this
Sir,
auction process, yes,
so can you explain the second point? Per 100 rupees, I didn't get that.
okay, that's why let me give you one example, then it will be more clear to you. Let me see. Is this PPT visible to you now? Hello.
No, sir. Sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, 1 second. Now it is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this issuance of the treasury bills and as well as the long-term securities, both are same in nature. So I'll just give you one hypothetical data. Let there is a yield-based auction of a security, right? So here let you just forget about the other things because this example is related to a long-term security, but the process of the issuance of long-term security and treasury bills both are same. So the other items you just discard. You just look at the notified amount is 1,000 crore. The notified amount is 1,000 crore. So then what is happening? You see that this RBI has notified that they want to raise this or issue this rupees 1,000 crores of the securities to the market. They want to issue the treasury bills against that. So then what will happen that the banks and other financial institutions who can participate in this particular process, they will go for bidding. They will go for bidding. Then what they will do, they will basically quote the bids in terms of the interest rate or the yield. Let one particular bank has bidded at or quoted a price of 8.19%. Already it is arranged in the ascending order, but randomly it can come out. Let the first organization who has gone for bidding, they have demanded or they have sent a bid for 300 crore. Okay. Second one has asked for the 200 crore at a rate of 8.2%. The third one also has gone for 8.2% of 250 crore, then so on. But total the bank basically or Reserve Bank basically has gone for the notified amount of 1,000 crore. So in that case, what basically will happen that you see, if you cumulatively, if you see your 1,000 crore got over here in the fifth bid. Okay. This issuer would get the notified amount by accepting the bids up to 5. Is it clear? Yes or no? The 1,000 crore got exhausted
Sir,
here.
can you explain once what is the notified amount?
Notified amount.
Yes, sir.
RBI wants to basically raise 1,000 crore from these financial institutions through this issuance of the treasury bills. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the first bank has asked for 300 crore. Second bank has asked for 200 crore. Third bank has gone for 250 crore. And they have also quoted their yield, that what interest rate basically they are charging against this. So now your 1,000 crore got over up to this fifth bidding. So that means now the cutoff yield is 8.22%. So 8.22% and below, whoever has gone for the bidding, they will get this particular required amount or the demanded amount, whatever they have asked for. But here if you see, there is another sixth bidder who have also asked for 100 crore and they have also quoted this 8.22%, what this fifth bidder has also asked for. So if this particular bid yield is same, so even if it is exhausted here, then what will happen that the Reserve Bank of India will allot this particular kind of treasury bills or government securities to both of them. 8.23% is ruled out, but this 8.22%, if both of these particular organizations have gone for bidding at the same rate, then what will happen that, and they have also asked for the same amount, then only remaining amount is only 100 crore. Then they will give this 50 crore to each. Instead of 100 crore, they have asked for 100 crore, but they will get 50 crore, and the sixth one also will get this 50 crore. But for example, because they will get it on the basis of the pro rata basis. But for example, this particular organization has asked for 200 crore. 200 crore, and the sixth one has asked for 100 crore. So accordingly, the more money will be given to the fifth one, because total will be basically they will divide it into three parts, and the 2/3 will go to this fifth bidder, and 1/3 will go to the sixth bidder. So the pro rata basis, the allotment will be done if the bill yield is same. Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
So,
is
but
it
if
Go ahead. You are asking something, Ray. Batao.
Sir, if the first one only like bids amount of money of like 500 crores or 600 crores, so then like will it be given like is there a specific like benchmark कि इससे ज़्यादा you cannot bid in first bid?
No. There is some kind of restrictions, some kind of quota is given to the non-competitive bidders. I'll come to that. There are two types of bidders basically. One is competitive and one is non-competitive. Then the banks and other financial institutions are the competitive bidders. So there is no restrictions for them. But let out of the 1,000 crore, they will say that 10% will be reserved for the non-competitive bidder. So there, basically, this you will ask, let you want to invest in that security, then you are a non-competitive bidder. Then in that case, you will not participate in the bidding process. But out of this 1,000 crore, 100 crore will be reserved for the non-competitive bidders. And whatever money or whatever yield will be decided on the basis of the non-competitive competitive bidders, the same yield will be applicable for the non-competitive bidders. But if this all the 100,000 crore will be given to the allotted, will be notified amount will be allotted to the competitive bidders, then there is no such restrictions that you cannot ask for 100 crore or you cannot ask for 500 crore or 600 crore, like that.
So, but this wouldn't be fair, right? Because if only a single bank gets, if only a single bank or a financial institute get like more than 500 crores out of the 1,000 crores, like this will just like increase the percentage for other financial institutes to compete with, and like and they'll get more of
They
the.
can compete. They can compete. You see, for example, one bank has asked for 500 crore. They have given, because this is money is not a matter. My matter is basically yield, right? Let you are a bank. You have asked for 500 crore and you have quoted an interest rate for 8.5%.
Yes, sir.
And another bank who has asked for 200 crore, another bank has for 300 crore, another bank has for 400 crore, and they have asked for they have gone
So,
for a,
asked means the bank is lending, right?
bank is not lending, bank is getting the money from the Reserve Bank.
So bank is
So, sir,
getting the security.
Bank is getting the bond from the
हाँ,
Reserve
yes,
Bank.
sir. हाँ, हाँ.
Bank is
sir,
getting the bond from the bank, but money who is paying?
bank is paying money to Reserve
हाँ,
Bank.
sir.
Reserve Bank.
Reserve.
Bank is paying money to the Reserve Bank, and against that particular money, they are getting a bond from the Reserve Bank, the
Yes,
treasury
sir.
bill.
Yes.
But sir, you keep saying bank is asking for
हाँ, sir.
money.
You said like opposite before
No,
this, I
bank
think.
is, I didn't get. What are you asking?
Sir, I think you like we got confused because you said opposite of this before this when Abhideep asked you.
I didn't get. Maybe
Sir,
can you clarify?
you keep saying that bank is asking for 500 crores.
The bank is asking 500 crore in the sense I am talking about. The bank is basically Okay, means
Asking to lend
saying that,
500.
okay. Maybe I have used this word wrongly. Okay, that's fine. Bank is not asking 500 crore. The bank is basically asking the bond of the 500 crore. Right? It is not the money. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Abhidip?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Bank is basically paying 500 crore, and against this 500 crore, they are getting the bond from the Reserve Bank of India. And against that particular bond, they will get this kind of interest rate from them. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Priyansa, you are asking something?
Sir, you said
No,
that
sir.
if in the
Huh.
fifth one, if the amount of bid was 200 crores, then the ratio it will be distributed in the ratio of 2 is to 1. 100 crores will be distributed in the ratio of 2 is to 1.
Yes. Yes. The remaining amount will be 100 crore, na? 900 crore got existed here. Only 100 crore will remain. Then this fifth bank will get the 2/3 of that, and the sixth will get 1/3 of that out of the 100 crore. Yes. You are telling something. Priyansa, you have some question?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what
So
if we don't get an exact 1000? Let us say in this case, below 150 there is another 150. Then in that case we'll not be getting a complete 1000 rate.
no, you are talking about this 8.22%. It will be 150 here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then in
Then
that
they
case
will
we'll not be getting 1000
then
rate.
they will get 100
Exact.
crore only, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I got it.
Okay, whatever remaining will be there, they will get that one, right? So if it is priced based auction, it is just reverse what I told you, that banks basically will go for the bidding in terms of the price, and the same thing will go on, but only difference is basically the bids will be arranged in the descending order. And here also the same example, what basically same way we have has been reported here also. Let the first bank has asked for 300 crores bond. You have confused that whenever I use this asked the money, asked what for this 300 crore, it is asked the bond of amount 300 crore. Then it is 100.31 price. Then it is 200. It is 100.26. Then 250, like that. And there itself you see that 1000 crore got over in the fifth bidder, but the sixth bidder will again ask for the 100 crores bond, and that's why already I told you that again it will be given in the pro rata basis. So this is same thing, whatever way the yield based auction will be done, but only difference is there basically it is arranged in the ascending order, and here it is arranged in the descending order. Okay, so then whenever you go for the auction, we have two types of things. One is uniform, another one is multiple. What does it mean? Whenever you talk at uniform, for example, you see here the price was fixed at 100.20.
Sir, you
Or
didn't
here,
explain the
yes,
price column
which one?
in the previous slide, like the last column
So that
per 100.
last column is decided on the basis of the yield they have found the price at 8.22%. What will be the price basically for each bid? That will be calculated after you find out the cutoff yield, right? You see that price with coupon as 8.22%.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, so you don't
So,
look at, yes.
so what that 100 then means, like what it
You will
represents?
come to know there is a calculation that if you get the price, then how the yield will be calculated.
Acha.
Okay, so this is because this snapshot is taken from the Reserve Bank on a report. So that's why actually this figure is automatically provided there. That's why this figure is here only. So you hold on this particular thing now. You only concentrate on the auction process, but I will explain also how the treasury bill yield is calculated. That I will explain to you. But here, if you see that what basically we are talking about, that uniform price and multiple price based auction. So here your cutoff yield was decided at 8.22%. If cutoff yield was decided at 8.22%, whether whoever are the bidder who have also gone for the bidding less than 8.22%, whether this particular thing will be given or the particular amount will be basically the amount of bond will be issued to them at 8.22%, or it will be the bid at what yield they have gone for or they have asked for. So that's why if RBI will, this bank has gone for 8.19%. So for this bank, they will issue the bond worth of 300 crore and give the yield of 8.19%. And for this bidder, they will go for 8.2%. For this bidder, 8.2%. For this bidder, 8.21%. If there is a differential yield, then we can say that this is a multiple priced or multiple yield based auction or multiple price based auction. But if the cutoff yield was decided at 8.22, so then even if somebody has gone for the lesser than that, or even price based auction, if it is decided at 100.20, if somebody has already asked for the 100.31 also, is ready to pay 100.31, any bank is ready to pay 100.31, 100.26, then for everybody it will be decided at 100.20, and or it will be only whatever money you are ready to pay against that particular bond, that basically you have to pay. So if it is a differential price, then we can call it multiple price based auction. And if it is a uniform price in whatever quote you have made or whatever bid you have made, then we call it the uniform price based auction. So that's the difference. So in a uniform price based auction, all the successful bidders are required to pay for the allotted quantity of securities at the same rate, that is the auction cutoff rate, irrespective of the rate quoted by them. And in the multiple price based auction, the successful bidders are required to pay for the allotted quantity of securities at the respective price or yield at which they have bid. Is it clear? Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt. So, what happens to the bidders that are below 6,
What happens to the bidder?
like below the 6 point that are like
They will not
8.2
get anything.
in both
Then
the?
that bids will be rejected. You are talking about the 7 and 8 number bidders, right?
Yes, sir.
They will not get anything. It's not mandatory that whoever has gone for the bidding, they will be allotted some amount of bond. Okay.
Yes.
So these bids will be rejected. They are not successful bids. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But you could get this uniform price and multiple price. All of you got this or not?
Yes, sir.
Rafiq?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Devika? Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
अरे जोर से बोलो. ब्रेकफास्ट नहीं हुआ?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So so that's why that either they can, everybody will pay the same price, or everybody whatever price they have asked, they have already quoted or they have gone for the bidding, they have to pay that. If that thing will be applicable, then we can go say that it is a multiple price auction. And if it is same price for everybody, then we can call it the uniform price based auction. Then we have competitive versus non-competitive bidding. Already I told you. Competitive bidders are generally banks, financial institutions, primary dealers, mutual funds, insurance companies. These are all the competitive bidders. And the multiple bidding is also allowed. an investor may put in several bids at various price or yield level. One particular bidder can quote different prices also. That is also allowed. Non-competitive biddings, certain percentage which will be reserved for them. Here it is open to individuals, regional rural banks, cooperative banks, companies, provident funds, trust, and other things. Under this non-competitive bidding scheme, the eligible investors apply for a certain amount of securities in an auction without mentioning the specific price or the yield. Such bidders are allotted securities at the weighted average price or yield of the auction. Whatever price will be decided from the auction, that price or that yield will be applicable for them, if at all will be allotted to them. If there is any provision for the non-competitive bidding allocation, then accordingly that thing will be allotted to them. There is a trading platform Reserve Bank of India has. These are auctioned basically through the negotiated dealing system. And the 91 days treasury bills are auctioned on every Wednesday. And the treasury bills of 182 days and 364 days tenure are auctioned on alternative Wednesday. So that is the kind of calendar they make. And now coming to your treasury bill rate, how it is calculated. So already I told you that the treasury bill rate is the rate of interest at which the treasury bills are sold by the RBI. So it is the effective return on treasury bills, which is the discount rate at which they are sold. And it is generally based on the difference between the price at which they are sold and at the redemption value. So how the yield of the treasury bill is calculated? The yield of the treasury bill is calculated in this way, that is 100 minus P divided by P into 365 by D into 100. So here your P is the purchase price, D is the days to maturity, and the day count convention here it is used for treasury bills is the actual number of days to maturity divided by 365. So if you see this example, it will be more clear for you. It is the assume that the price of a 91-day treasury bill is issued at 98.20. The yield on the same, if you want to calculate, then it will be 100 minus 98.20 divided by 98.20 into 365 by 91 into 100. So the yield of that particular bill will be 7.3521%, right? But late after 41 days, if the same treasury bill is trading in the market at a price of 99, then if you want to calculate the yield, then the yield will be 100 minus 99 divided by 99 into 365 by 50. The 50 means another 41 days are already over. Then 91 minus 41, that 50 days is remaining, into 100, that will give you 7.3737%. This is the way the treasury bill yield is calculated, and here the convention we consider as a 365 days in a year. For treasury bill yield calculation, the day count convention is the 365 days. Is it clear?
Sir, is the par value always 100 rupees for 91-day treasury bill?
Generally, yes, it is 100 rupees. Par value is always taken as 100 rupees. It is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then there are other two types of short-term securities which are also issued by the central government. Generally, RBI issues that. One is called the cash management bills, and other one is ways and means advances. What do you mean by the cash management bill? It is generally issued to meet the temporary mismatches in the cash flow of the government. Generally, the maturity period is less than 91 days. And the tenure of these issued at discount and redeemed at the face value. And the tenure, notified amount, and the date of issue of the cash management bills depends upon the temporary cash requirement of the government. And the settlement of this particular auction is T+1 basis. If it is auction today, then this all transactions and everything, all the settlement will be done. If it is auction today, then the settlement will be done in the next day, T+1 basis. And another one is the ways and means advances. So these things are issued to help the state governments to tide over the temporary mismatches of the cash flow of the receipts and the payments. If there is any problem in terms of their cash flow in their balance sheet by the state governments, then they can always go and raise this kind of use this kind of ways and means advances from the RBI to mismatch this particular receipts and payments, whatever they have in their balance sheet. Normal, the wage and means advances are clean advances, and the special wage and means advances are secured advances against this place of the government and Government of India dated securities. There is a collateral they provide. They take the loan from RBI, and against that they provide certain collateral, and the collaterals are generally in terms of the government securities. Mostly what the state governments hold the collateral in terms of government securities, they use it as the collateral to raise the money from the Reserve Bank of India. So this is another way the Reserve Bank of India can provide certain kind of instruments or certain kind of capital, particularly the short-term capital to the governments and the state governments, central government and as well as the state governments. So these cash management bill and wage and means advances were not there before. This is generally started in little bit late in 2016-17, and the concept of wage and means advances and cash management bill was not a very old concept, which was started by Reserve Bank of India of late. But the 21-day treasury bills, 182 days and 364-day treasury bills, which are the marketable instruments or marketable short-term securities, which are quite popular in the Indian market in terms of the government securities. And mostly the banks and other financial institutions are very much keen to invest in those kind of instruments for various reasons. Already those reasons we have discussed. And one of the most important reason is these are the risk-free instruments, and other one is basically that it fulfills the SLR requirements. So because of this, the importance of the treasury bills are quite high. Okay, then we have other major instruments like commercial papers and certificate of deposits and other things that we'll discuss in the next class. We can stop here.